I love your commercials, by the way. And if you would like to talk to an expert seriously on divorce, oxlawfirm.com.
Jarrod, we do have a kind of a simple question for you because, it's about the very beginning of things. So if you're married and you're even thinking about the D word, what is that actual first step? I mean, is it go to a therapist? Is it call you? Like, what is that first step?
Well, if you want to try and reconcile the issues that are causing the problem between you and your spouse, and you feel that your spouse might be willing to reconcile those issues, and you actually want to try and stay married, then I always recommend that folks get counseling. I have plenty of people that come to my office, and I can tell they're just not ready yet, and they don't really want the divorce, but there's just a major issue going on that they just can't live like that forever. And I will tell them, go speak to your spouse about this, and if you both go to counseling and act in good faith, perhaps you can reconcile those issues, repair the marriage, and stay married. If that doesn't work out and you look like you're heading down that road, then of course you need to meet with a qualified divorce attorney so they can give you the tips and strategy and advice to get you the best result.
I mean, you're a smart guy, Jarrod Oxendine. Have you ever thought about getting your license to be a therapist? You could kind of
You're so upbeat.
You could two-stop shop that. You could offer therapy at a lower rate, and then, if you need to proceed, they're already sitting there.
Well, I don't have the actual license to be a therapist, but I swear I probably am more qualified than most of those therapists out there because I wear that hat. I'm the attorney, and I'm the best friend, and I'm the confidant, and I'm the therapist, and I'm the counselor, and it takes all that to be a good divorce attorney. And, you want your clients to be happy. You want them to feel like they're getting the best representation they can. You want them to know that you care and that you're going to handhold them along the way. So the best divorce attorneys can wear all those hats.
Have you ever, and we joked about it, but have you ever received a client that has said, listen, I want this to drop on Valentine's Day, do your thing?
Wow.
I am going to have to say I must admit we have served folks on Valentine's Day before. Now, I haven't served people on Christmas Day. It's just kind of like a line I draw. But, sometimes clients are adamant and they just want to take the screw and twist it in as tight as they can.
Wow.
And they serve on anniversaries. They serve on birthdays. They serve on Valentine's Day. Not what I recommend. We don't do it that often, but I've had a couple clients that for whatever reason were adamant, and we have done that in the past. And sometimes it just happens to coincidentally fall that way. Keep in mind, sometimes we give the papers out to be served, and we don't really control, unless we need to, the exact date that it gets served. So sometimes it just happens by happenstance that it gets served on Valentine's Day.
That's even worse, though, I think, probably, because they think you did it on purpose.
Yeah, of course they do.
What are your social media rules? Because I'm finding now between Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, everything, that people are like sharing their entire history. And if you're going through something like this, shouldn't you keep your business private?
Yeah, just not smart, right? I mean, back in the day, before we had text messages and social media, I didn't have all these goodies to use in court and at hearings. It was he said, she said, and it was whoever the judge believed. But now people put so much stuff in writing, and it comes back to bite them. I mean, I've got cases where we got custody battles, and dad's alleging, for example, that mom's out partying too much and drinking all the time, and she's never with the kids. And then you pull up her Facebook, and of course, every weekend there's pictures of mom out partying and sloshing down the drinks and doing the shots. And meanwhile, where are the kids? So you do have to be careful what you put out there on social media. You have to be careful what you put out there in writing, in text message format.
Oh, yeah, they make it so easy for you.
I love it. It's kind of fun. It makes it fun. And it also helps get cases settled sometimes, frankly, because, before we had all this evidence, it was just he said, she said, like I said. But if we can kind of say, hey, Mr. Attorney, opposing counsel, look what I've got. This is what we're going to be presenting in court. That sometimes can promote settlement.
What's the most whack divorce proceeding you've ever had? What's the one that comes to mind when you're at the party and they ask you, what you do for a living, and you give them a story? What's the one?
There's so many. The one that just popped in my head, because it just seems like this is the theme of the week. I've met with a couple potential clients that have tried this lifestyle before, but I had a client, and her husband decided they were going to be swingers and have an open marriage. And, of course, they had all the rules in place. You can only play when I know about it, and, I have to be involved, and yada, yada, yada. So inevitably the rules get broken. So they started playing with their next-door neighbors, believe it or not. And, the husband starts spending more time with the other guy's wife and vice versa. And long story short, both families filed for divorce. And then when the divorce was finalized, they cross-married, believe it or not.
Well, that's what's her, Amy and TJ, whatever. They just did the same thing.
Their spouses are dating each other.
Yeah. These folks both got divorced. Both parties got divorced. My client married the husband next door, and the husband next door, well, vice versa. Y'all see what I'm saying? They married each other. So, but there's all kinds of crazy stuff. That's just what jumped in my head. I guess that's what's going on these days.
But this is also the Kevin Costner situation where Christine Baumgartner? Is that her name, Fram?
Yes, seeing the neighbor.
Hanging with the neighbor, and dude's like, and she's like, we're just friends. And then she tries to hold on to that while she tries to get all the money. And then all of a sudden, look at there. It just started. The sex just started.
Right, yeah.
You must see that.
Who's buying that?
I would love your job. Sit there and hear these stories all day.
I want to know, literally, who's going through, pages and pages of Facebook? Do you have, interns that are just scrolling social media?
I'll do it.
The person that's doing it is the other party in the case, right? It's your husband, it's your wife, it's the mom, it's the dad. They're saving those text messages, and they're on social media, and you're printing out copies of the post. So, we're not having to do any of that work. They come into my office just with treasure troves of evidence.
Can I come and work with you one day? Can you bring your DJ to work day? Can I come?
Yeah, why not?
I want to sit through all of this.
If I get permission from the client, consent from the client, who knows? We might can even have the client on one day to talk about some interesting thing that happened in their case.
Please.
But absolutely, that would be
all right.
fun.
Jarrod Oxendine, this is all seriousness. If we have this segment because it brings up things that you can use as a little nugget if you ever need it. All right. Jarrod Oxendine, Oxendine Law. It's oxlawfirm.com. Always a pleasure, sir. Thank you, Jarrod.
Thank you.
Enjoyed it. See you next month.